and welcome to our webinar on Sri Ram in Indian consciousness. So this is really interesting, how we picked this topic and on this particular day, even though it's kind of like, our Pongal celebrations are going on here in Pondicherry and Tamil Nadu. But today happens to be a very important day in that sense that it is also the Jayanti of Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th Guru of Sikhs. And Sri Aurobindo has written a lot about Guru Gobind Singh and how he brought in he deliberately devised a common secular and spiritual center. And, Sri Aurobindo has said he has included Guru Gobind Singh Ji with several other stalwarts as considering their contribution so significant for the the spiritual secular revival and continuity of our Sanatan Parampara, of our national survivor. He includes Guru Gobind Singh Ji along with Shankara, Ramanuja, Guru Nanak, Kabir, Chaitanya, Ramdas, Tukaram, and all of their contributions to the continued and thriving and revival of the Sanatan Parampara, the Indian civilization, which is at the foundation of Indian civilization. So as the whole country is kind of like, we are going through this turning point in our civilizational history. And as Sri Aurobindo had sort of prophesied long time back that there has to be recovery or a rediscovery of the spirit of Bharatiya civilization, of Indian civilization. In that turning point, in that reawakening that India and we are all as Indians are witnessing, Sri Ram holds a very important and a very significant place, not only in terms of his impact on the Indian cultural consciousness, but also in the larger evolutionary march of consciousness. So one of the things that we hope to get to through our deliberations and reflections in this webinar is what impact Sri Ram has had in the Indian consciousness in the light of Sri Aurobindo's views on Rama's place in the terrestrial evolution of the spirit towards the spiritual evolution of consciousness that he speaks of. And another goal or objective or another purpose that we are gathered here is to kind of approach this whole topic in a spirit of satsang, in a spirit of coming together of children who love Mother India, who love what Sri Aurobindo has, his vision for future of India, for the future of Indian civilization. And I thought it would be appropriate to remind ourselves of one chaupai from Sant Tulsidas, Goswami Tulsidas from Ramcharitmanas, where he says, "Binu satsang vivek na hoi, Ram kripa binu sulabh na soi, satsangat mud mangal mula, soi phal siddhi sab sadhan phula." What in ordinary Hindi it would be translated from this avadhi is that satsang ke bina vivek nahi hota. और श्री राम जी की कृपा के बिना हमें सत्संग सहज में मिलता भी नहीं है. राम कृपा बिनु सुलभ ना सोई. So it is indeed Ram's kripa that we are all together here in a satsang sort of mode. And then the next line is satsangat mud mangal mula. सत्संगति ही आनंद और कल्याण का की जड़ है, का रूट है. और सत्संग की सिद्धि यानी कि सत्संग की प्राप्ति ही फल है. और सब साधन, जैसे कि ये हमारा वेबिनार, ये तो फूल हैं. So let us offer this flowers of this webinar, of our coming together in this forum as our offering to Mother India, to Sri Ram, to the Divine Mother, and in that spirit approach this next hour and a half. So with that introductory comments, I would like to request Biswajita to take over the session and, in terms of how you would like us to, how would you like to moderate the session, and then we'll take our turns. So, Biswajita. Please unmute yourself.
Hello. Namaste, everybody. Good evening to all. I am Biswajita Mahapatra. I past 10 years in variety of working, but last 3 years I'm working with Dr. Beloo Mehra as a core member of the Renaissance Sri Aurobindo Society's monthly online journal. So today I am really very excitement for this beautiful session, and so I don't want waste of time. So what to say? First, without delay, let's start the session. First, I would like to invite Dr. Beloo Mehra. Belooji, are you ready for that?
Yes. So,
Dr. Beloo Mehra is the editor of Renaissance Sri Aurobindo Society's monthly online journal. She has worked as a professor in the US for more than a decade before she moved to Pondicherry in 2007 to focus on Sri Aurobindo studies. She has deep interest in Sri Aurobindo and Mother's vision and work on integral education, Indian culture, social philosophy, yoga, and spirituality. She is currently also teaching a postgraduate course at Pondicherry University on social philosophy of Sri Aurobindo. She gives talks and writes regularly on topics issues related to Indian culture, education, and society. Today, she will be sharing on thoughts on how Sri Aurobindo deepened my love for Sri Rama. So please welcome Dr. Mehra. We are very happy to have you. Please carry on.
Yes. Thank you, Viswajita, for the kind introduction. So we just share briefly few initial remarks, maybe 10 minutes or so that there is some time left towards the end for our participants to share some reflections or maybe pose some questions. So the topic that I'm going to speak very briefly is on how Sri Aurobindo deepened my love for Sri Ram. So I kind of grew up listening to the Ramcharitmanas. I'm sorry, I'm sitting. There's a window nearby, so some traffic sound is coming. I grew up. There was sort of like a nightly ritual for many years, where my father would read few pages from Tulsidas ji's Ramcharitmanas every night after dinner. Kind of growing up as a child, I was more moved, more than what I was able to understand the significance of what he was reading. It was my father's love for Sri Ram, which I imbibed more. So it was like love of a child for this great figure of Sri Ram that my father loved so dearly. But then, as children grow up, as mind, as intellect, as reason develop, there was sort of like, what Sri Aurobindo describes in his social philosophy, the kind of questioning, the kind of intellectual, I wouldn't call it rebellion or revolt, but more of a questioning comes up. And so I would ask him questions about several of the things that he was explaining as we were reading. And this was a Gita Press Ramcharitmanas. So after the Avadhi Chaupai and Dohas, there was a tika, a commentary or an explanation in Hindi as well. So, naturally the questions that you would have about several actions of Sri Ram, which I later, once I started reading Sri Aurobindo much more deeply, I understood that this is a symptom of this modern mentality. And Sri Aurobindo, in one of his letters, speaks of that this is, and I quote his words, he says, this is a cardinal error in the modern insistence on the biographical and historical. So what that means is that when we are listening to, as children or as teenagers, when we are listening to the stories of Sri Ram or any of these avataric figures or great figures who have left an impact on our collective cultural psyche, the modern mind insists on biographical and historical, totally from the external. So this, what Sri Aurobindo later on, then he says, this is the focus on the external factuality of the avatar, the incidents of his outward life. But then he reminds, what matters is the spiritual reality, the power, the influence that came with this particular incarnation, this particular manifestation of the avatar that he brought down, and how that spiritual truth, the spiritual purpose for which he came down, how that impacted his action and his existence, his work, his complete life's work. So we don't understand that internal spiritual reality, and we only focus on the external factuality. Another thing that Sri Aurobindo helped me understand as I started reading him more, and it's so interesting how Sri Aurobindo has, there are at least, I don't know, 50 letters or maybe even more in which Sri Aurobindo very patiently, very calmly explains the work that an avatar does, the meaning of an avatar, avatarhood, the whole process of incarnation, divine manifestation. This is in addition to all his other essays on avatars, work in essays on the Gita. But his letters are really telling. So in one of these letters, he speaks about how important it is to enter into the time spirit of the age in which an avatar lived and worked. And I quote again his, his complete part of the letter. He says, I consider myself under an obligation, paying an attention to his word, under an obligation to enter into the spirit, significance, atmosphere of the Mahabharata, Iliad, Ramayana, all of these great epics, these great, Mahakavyas, and identify myself with their time spirit before I can feel what their heroes were in themselves, apart from the details of their outer action. So unless we get into the time spirit, we, in our modern mind's insistence, we keep on committing that cardinal error of why this, why not that, why this. So again, the love takes a backstage, the questioning stays important. To deepen the love, it is important for the rational mind, the kind of rational mind which we all, we are all products of that through our education. So Sri Aurobindo so lovingly, so calmly calms down that questioning through his letters about the avatarhood, and also specifically about Rama's avatarhood. Another question, again, like as a child, I was moved by when I heard my father refer to Sri Ram as Maryada Purushottam Sri Ram. But what does this word Maryada mean? Is this a moral, ethical boundary, moral, ethical restraint, or is there something deeper than that? Again, there is a beautiful statement of Sri Aurobindo in one of his letters to a disciple, where he cautions that we need to actually look at the grand character of the hero that Valmiki has portrayed in his Ramayana, or Sant Tulsidas has portrayed in Ramcharitmanas, and not hammer at some details, because some parts of the shadow, he says, which this modern tendency is to turn into the, the hook, that is as if that is the all, the crux of Rama. And then he cautions, this is what debunkers do, but a debunked figure is not the true figure. So in order to understand Rama's true figure, in order to understand Rama's work as a true hero that Valmiki has given us, or that is an avatar for the Indian collective consciousness, we have to get away from this habit of debunking and understand these ideas of Maryada and what is Purushottam, what is the work of an avatar, very patiently, very calmly. I don't want to take on too much about Rama's avatarhood because Narendra ji will be speaking a little bit more on that. But I just want to briefly mention a couple of interesting remarks by Sri Aurobindo in this regard, which helped me, as I said, deepen my love and admiration and reverence for Sri Ram. One is sort of like a humorous, you can call it like a humorous remark, but a very interesting, somewhat casual remark, but still it gives us much to think about. One, the Sri Aurobindo, and the other is a more, much more in-depth remark. One thing, the lighter one where Sri Aurobindo refers to is, it's sort of like a comment in passing. He says the temperament of the person who is trying to understand the true figure of Ram makes a difference also. So he says for most people who have grown up in northern part of the country, the temperament there is more of a mental, moral, and social being. So naturally, Rama is a more congenial avatar for that kind of a temperament. So even if we forget the whole northern and southern or eastern or western thing, so those temperaments that are more of the mental, moral, and social nature in type, social in type, for them, Rama is a much more congenial avatar. For those who are more emotional and intuitive, there he gives an example of a Bengali because he's writing to a Bengali disciple. So the temperament that is more open to being emotional and intuitive, he finds that kind of a Rama's avatarhood, which is more of a mental, moral, and social. Social because after all, that's where Rama's ideal of Ram Rajya comes in. His work was to create a sattvic social order, a sattvic societal order. So those who are more of the emotional and intuitive temperament, they find this kind of work a little bit dry, and they are more drawn to the sort of like the Krishna's nature, Krishna's temperament, Krishna's avatarhood. So that is one interesting remark that I found, and it gave me something to think about as to how my own love and reverence from Rama transformed or evolved into a deeper love and deeper reverence and deeper, if I can use the word, even understanding of Krishna's work in the larger terrestrial evolutionary scheme that Sri Aurobindo has spoken of. The other important thing is what I just mentioned briefly is the terrestrial evolutionary scheme and how Rama fits in so beautifully, so perfectly with that scheme. So Sri Aurobindo speaks about that Rama is the divine which accepts and glorifies a mold of the human mental. And there he speaks of the sattvic human, the sattvic mentality that Rama's business was to open the earth consciousness and establish in the terrestrial evolutionary process the rightful place of a sattvic mind. So with which will come dharma, a public order, a right societal arrangement, conquest over the animalistic, rajasic, tamasic nature, which is the vanara and the rakshasa. And in that sense, Sri Aurobindo writes in another letter that this terrestrial evolution is nothing but the evolution of the embodied spirit through successive stages towards the divine. So we are talking successive stages from matter to life to mind. So the mind, the highest the mind that the mind can get at the sattva level, he was not concerned about going beyond the mind. For that, Krishna will come, opening the over mind. But up to the sattvic mind is Rama's work. And Sri Aurobindo says that when he first read Ramayana, and as many of our participants I'm sure are aware, Sri Aurobindo has chosen some very significant passages from Valmiki's Ramayana to translate. And he speaks of Ramayana as a parable of a great critical transitional event that happened in the history of Earth consciousness. And there he found that the way Valmiki has described Ram's work, only an avatar could have done it. So he says there is nobody else that can take the place of the Ram as an avatar. And another place, Sri Aurobindo speaks so beautifully about the double nature of an avatar. So there is the divine consciousness behind, and there is the instrumental human nature, because this is divine manifesting in human form. So he is bound by the Prakriti, bound by the nature, bound by the instrumentality of the nature. So naturally, he's not going to go beyond the rules of the nature and do some superhuman acts, though an avatar is capable of doing that. But the very fact, the very spirit with which he does all his actions, the very spirit which moves him is that divine will, that divine spirit, that divine consciousness, and the divine being that he has embodied. He's an embodiment of both the force, the consciousness of the divine, and the being. But he's not bound to always act in a superhuman way. He is bound to do acts according to the nature of the human, like I said, the spirit of the time, the dharma of the age and the time in which he comes. Sri Aurobindo speaks at great length about Rama's avatarhood in terms of how he fits in, and with specific examples of questions that are often asked about why would Rama kill Bali in the way he did, or what about Sita's banishment and things like that. And Sri Aurobindo very patiently has, in brief remarks, given important clues as to how to understand that. But in the interest of time, I'm not going there, but hope if more questions come up, more interesting reflections come up on that, we can take up. But just to close my initial remarks, I'll just say one more thing. When Sri Aurobindo speaks of Sri Ram as establishing the Sattvic human mind, he also cautions, and this is a very important point, he says, by Sattvic man, I do not mean a moral or an always self-controlled one, but a predominantly mental, as opposed to a vital or merely physical man. So vital is the Ravan, that is, the vital ego, or the merely physical man, more of the monkey, the Vanara, with both of them who would have Rajasic or Tamasic emotions and passions. But this Sattvic mental man would live predominantly according to his mind and its will and ideas. So it's the high reason, the high purified reason that he will establish. And then again, he also reminds that just because, Rama is a Sattvic human, is an avatar of the Sattvic human mind, it does not mean that he cannot have strong passion or strong anger. So again, there are episodes in Rama's story where we see a strong passion. He even gives the example of Rama's, weeping when he learns about Sita's abduction, and which is, why a Sattvic man cannot feel the kind of love, viraha, for his beloved who has been kidnapped. So through various examples, Sri Aurobindo has sort of helped me understand what this Maryada is. The Maryada, I'll just say this and then close. Maryada that Sri Aurobindo has helped me understand is the Maryada of his avatarhood. He, as an avatar of the Supreme Divine, could have brought in many other things, but he was bound by the purpose for which he came down, and those are the limits. That is the Maryada under which he works, which is the Maryada of the Sattvic human mentality, and not going beyond the mind to higher ranges of consciousness. For that, the same divine had to come in a new embodiment, in a new manifestation, that is of Krishna. So when I began to look at Rama's work in this way, I could really kind of, feel that love deepening and reverence deepening with knowledge. So for that, I am eternally grateful to Sri Aurobindo, and at the same time to my father's regular reading of Sri Ram Charitmanas, through which that initial seed was sown. So with that, I conclude my initial remarks and turn back to Viswajita. Thank you.
Thank you, Beluji. Thank you. Very beautifully you presented भारतीय चेतना में श्री राम. बहुत अच्छा था.
Thank you. Can I just take 1 minute and welcome our chairman, Sir Pradeep Bhai is joined.
Yes,
I just
please.
saw.
Please.
Pradeep Bhai, are you there with us? I just see his name. So before we move on to the next. Pradeep Bhai is the chairman of Sri Aurobindo Society. We call him Pradeep Bhai. But maybe when he's available, we'll invite him to share a few thoughts. In the meantime, we can continue with Viswajita. Sorry.
Okay. If anybody have any questions or comment, we will discuss later. Okay. Now I would like to invite Dr. Charan Singh Kedarkhandi. Dr. Charan Singh Kedarkhandi is a poet, thinker, spiritual seeker, and a student of the Indian knowledge tradition. He lives and works in Jyotirmath, Himalayas of Devabhumi, Uttarakhand. Widely respected as an authority on Sri Aurobindo's poetry, yoga, and philosophy, Dr. Kedarkhandi writes and speaks about the spiritual vision of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. He is the founder member of Sri Aurobindo Study Center, Jyotirmath, Uttarakhand, and also edits the center annual bilingual magazine Anukampa, The Grace Divine. His writings appear frequently in Renaissance. Today he will be speaking in Hindi on the topic Tulsi ke Sri Ram. So please welcome Dr. Charan Singh Kedarkhandi.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद विश्वजीता सिस्टर. Am I audible properly?
Yes.
अच्छा जी. सबसे पहले श्री अरविंद और श्री माँ के चरणों में प्रणाम है. मैं बहुत ज्यादा ऑनर्ड हूँ टू बी ए पार्ट ऑफ श्री अरविंदो सोसाइटी. और श्री अरविंद सोसाइटी और अपना रिश्ता अब कुछ ऐसे ही है जैसे एक पोइट ने कहा है कि नियाजे इश्क की तो एक ऐसी भी मंजिल है यारब जहां है शुक्र शिकायत किसी को क्या मालूम. यानी प्रेम की एक ऐसी भी ऊंचाई है जहां पर थैंक यू जो है शिकायत हो जाता है. There is a limit of love when thank you of formal thanks become a complaint. So I am the beneficiary of the divine light of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. I am too much beneficiary of the grace and love and proximity of the intellect of Dr. Beloo Mehra ji, Sri Aurobindo Society's other luminaries. यहाँ पर जो भी लोग अपने देश से बाहर से श्री अरविंदो और माँ के परिवार से और भगवान श्री राम परिवार से भारत परिवार से जुड़े हुए हैं उन सबको मैं प्रणाम निवेदित करता हूँ साथियों. और अपनी बात तुलसी के श्री राम एक ऐसा टॉपिक जिसके लायक मैं खुद को तो नहीं मानता, लेकिन भगवान के साथ भगवान की बात करने में, संतों की बात करने में, चाहे वो कितनी भी अनगढ़ी तरीके से, अधूरे तरीके से कही जा रही हो, उसका एक सौंदर्य होता है, उसकी एक सुवास होती है. There is a fragrance in discussing the very name of divinity or divine incarnations or saints and servants of the God. तो एक सूफी फकीर हुए हैं दरिया साहब. उन्होंने कहा है, एक तरह से ये पूरे भारत की कलेक्टिव कॉन्शियसनेस का परिचय है कि जात हमारी ब्रह्म है, मात पिता है राम. जात हमारी ब्रह्म है, मात पिता है राम. गिरह हमारा शून्य में, अनहद में विश्राम. यानी हमारी जो जात है वो ब्रह्म है. वी आर एसेंशियली चिल्ड्रन ऑफ द डिवाइन. और हमारे जो पेरेंट्स हैं वो श्री राम हैं. और महाशून्यता में हमारा घर है. आउट ऑफ लाइट वी केम एंड टू द लाइट वी गो, जो श्री अरविंद भी कहते हैं सावित्री में। और अनहद में विश्राम, हम सब जानते हैं वो प्रिमोर्डियल साउंड कोड, वो अनाहद नाद, उसमें हमारा अल्टीमेटली आखिरी विश्राम होने वाला है। तो ये भारत जाति का परिचय है वैश्विक संदर्भ में उसका, कि कैसे श्री राम के वो पुत्र हैं, कैसे श्री राम ने, श्री कृष्ण ने, चेतना के इन दो ध्रुवों ने कैसे भारत की आत्मा का मंथन किया है, और कैसे इन दो के कारण, इन दो के बिना हम भारतीय मानस की, भारतीय हृदय की, भारत की उमंग की, ताजगी की, आनंद की कल्पना भी नहीं कर सकते। तो साथियों, गोस्वामी तुलसीदास का जीवन अपने आप में बड़ा अनूठा जीवन है, और निसंदेह भगवान राम भारतीयता के एक हीरो थे। लेकिन हम बहुत सहजता से कह सकते हैं कि भारत के आम आदमी के हीरो को, श्री राम को, उस भारत के आम आदमी के हीरो को, नायक को बनाने के पीछे गोस्वामी तुलसीदास का योगदान है। उनके रामचरितमानस का सबसे बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन यही है कि उन्होंने श्री राम के नाम को घर घर का विषय बना दिया। He made the name of Sri Rama a household affair. He brought the name of Rama to the doorstep of the rustic. उन्होंने साधारण आदमी, गंवई आदमी, किसान आदमी, मजदूर आदमी, सीधा सरल आदमी, उसके दरवाजे पर श्री राम को पहुंचा दिया। वाल्मीकि रामायण अपने आप में क्लासिक है, और कहीं ना कहीं श्री रामचरितमानस जो है वाल्मीकि रामायण की रिटेलिंग ही है, एक सरल भाषा में, एक सिंप्लीफाइड वर्जन है, उसकी रिटेलिंग है, भगवान राम की कथा का पुनर्पाठ है एक तरह से। लेकिन तुलसीदास ने भाषा को इतना सहज माध्यम बनाया, और ये प्रसंग भी आता है उनके जीवन में कि वो शुरुआत में संस्कृत में भगवान श्री राम की कथा को लिख रहे थे, लेकिन ऐसा कुछ उनको संकेत मिला कि भाई आप जो है सपने में भगवान ने बताया कि आप जो है इसको अवधि में अपनी मातृभाषा में इसको गाओ, इस बेहतरीन गीत को, इस ज्ञान के, प्रेम के, सत्य के, सौंदर्य के, आदर्श चरित्र के, आदर्श जीवन के, आदर्श संबंधों के इस गीत को आप अपनी उस सहज भाषा में गाओ, जिससे राम का नाम घर घर की बात हो जाए। तो देश में जो हम श्री राम को लेकर एक ज्वार जो देखते हैं, the way Ram has inundated, the way Ram has churned the collective consciousness of India's present, is but the result of Tulsidas tapasya. The tapasya, the काव्यात्मक तपस्या जो संत तुलसीदास की है, बहुत हद तक राम को इतना लोकप्रिय, इतना जननायक जो बनाया है, वो गोस्वामी तुलसीदास की तपस्या ने बनाया। 4 शहर बहुत पवित्र तुलसीदास से जुड़े रहे। पहला शहर यकीनन अयोध्या ही था, जहां तुलसीदास जी का यज्ञोपवीत संस्कार हुआ। दूसरा शहर वो वाराणसी पवित्र नगरी है, भारत की एक तरह से सांस्कृतिक राजधानी, जहां 15 साल तक गोस्वामी तुलसीदास ने वेदांगों का अध्ययन किया, और बहुत हद तक रामचरितमानस पर अगर बाबा विश्वनाथ जी की और बनारस की मुहर नहीं लगती, तो भारत के मन को इतनी सहजता से इस ग्रंथ को स्वीकार करने की हम उम्मीद नहीं कर सकते थे, क्योंकि श्री रामचरितमानस पर बाबा विश्वनाथ ने और वाराणसी ने अपनी मुहर लगा ली थी। इसलिए भी एक कविता की पुस्तक, एक स्क्रिप्चर बन गई, एक धर्म ग्रंथ बन गई। तीसरी नगरी प्रयाग है, जहां रत्नावली जी से जो आख्यान आता है कि उससे विरह होने के बाद, वैराग्य होने के बाद जहां उनका संन्यास हुआ। और चौथी नगरी वो चित्रकूट है, जहां पर पहली बार श्री राम और लक्ष्मण के द्वे अवतारों के उनके दर्शन इन चरम चक्षुओं से तुलसीदास ने किए। श्री रामचरितमानस जैसे कि इसके नाम में ही है, एक ऐसी झील जिसमें श्री राम के कार्यों का जिक्र हो। The literal translation of the word Ramcharitmanas is lake of the deeds of Sri Ram. तो इसी में हमको एक तरह से संकेत मिलता है। तुलसीदास जी राम के चरित्र को, राम के कार्यों पर फोकस करना चाहते हैं। भारत के लोकमानस के लिए, भारत के कॉमन मैन के लिए वो श्री राम ने कब कब क्या क्या कार्य किए, कैसे कैसे वो कार्य किए, उसको वो फोकस में लाना चाहते। और यही कारण है कि रामचरितमानस की 10,000 से ज्यादा चौपाइयों में सबसे ज्यादा जो एक एलिमेंट सबसे ज्यादा भरा हुआ है वो है नीति, मर्यादा, सदाचार, धर्म, न्याय, बंधुत्व। निसंदेह इस कविता में, जैसे दूसरी काव्यात्मक रचनाओं में होता है, श्रृंगार है, वियोग है, वैराग्य है, कुछ हद तक हास्य है, जो हम जैसे लंका में देखते हैं कि किस प्रकार भूख लगने पर श्री हनुमान वहां पर उत्पात मचा देते हैं। बहुत सारा हास्य है, बहुत सारा आप कह सकते हैं कि मिस्टेकन आइडेंटिटी भी है, जैसे शेक्सपियर के नाटकों में मिलती है कि लक्ष्मण जी का भरत को विशाल सेना के साथ आने की खबर सुनकर ये मान लेना कि वो लोभ के वशीभूत होकर श्री राम को आक्रमण करना चाहते हैं, उनको आधिपत्य करना चाहते हैं। इस तरह का मिस्टेकन आइडेंटिटी ये सब भी इसमें है। लेकिन सारी काव्यात्मक सौंदर्य के बावजूद जो इस श्री रामचरितमानस का जो सेंट्रल आइडिया है वो है सदाचरण, वो है मर्यादा, वो है रेक्टिट्यूड, वो है न्याय, नीति, धर्म, विवेक। जिस विवेक की बात आदरणीय बेलू जी ने भी शुरू में की। और मानस को पढ़ते हुए एक चीज ये भी पता चलती है कि संत तुलसीदास अपने जीवन पर जो बाबा विश्वनाथ का, आदि शंकर का जो ऋण है, जो कृपा है, उसको भी वो कहीं ना कहीं उतारना चाहते हैं। हम में से सभी लोग जानते हैं कि जो 325 पृष्ठ का लगभग बालकांड है, उसमें से आधे से अधिक पृष्ठों पर भगवान शिव की चर्चा है। So Ramcharitmanas basically a book, a classic, an epic that memorizes, that celebrates, that sings the glory of Sri Rama's deeds, but simultaneously it touches the major events of the life of Mahashiva. और एक चौपाई तुलसीदास जी कहते हैं बालकांड में, शंभु प्रसाद सुमति ही तुलसी, रामचरितमानस कवि तुलसी। यानी ये शिव के आशीर्वाद के कारण मुझे ये सुबुद्धि आई है, मुझे सद्बुद्धि जो आई है वो शिव के आशीर्वाद से आई है कि आज रामचरितमानस जैसी किताब, रामचरितमानस जैसी कविता के कवि के होने का गौरव तुलसी को मिला है। शंभु प्रसाद सुमति ही तुलसी, हुलसी, रामचरितमानस कवि तुलसी। और उत्तर कांड में जो रुद्राष्टक है वो शायद शिव तांडव स्तोत्रम के बाद भगवान शिव की सबसे सब्लाइम पोइट्री है। मैं सिर्फ एक या दो पदों का पाठ करूंगा और किस भाव से, मतलब तुलसीदास जी is talking about Ram, but he is celebrating the life of Shiva equally, with equal spiritual force, with equal poetic inspiration. नमामि स्मीशान निर्वाण रूपम विभु व्यापकम ब्रह्म वेद स्वरूपम निजम निर्गुणम निर्विकल्पम निरीहम चिदाकाशमाकाश वासम भजे हम। और फिर ये पूरा जो है, जो 8-9 जो पूरी पद हैं, मतलब ये सबलाइम पोइट्री का एक बड़ा उदाहरण है। कविता में सब्लिमिटी जो होती है, डिवाइन इंस्पिरेशन से लिखी गई जो कविता होती है, उसका ये पूरा का पूरा उदाहरण है। और ये अवधि में न होकर के उन्होंने भगवान शिव के इस संकल्प को, शिव के इस स्तुति को उन्होंने संस्कृत में, विशुद्ध संस्कृत में गाया। तो ये मानस यात्रा गोस्वामी तुलसीदास की है। जैसे मैंने कहा, इस पूरी की पूरी जर्नी में कहानी तो उन्होंने कही है हमारे सामने, 7 कांडों के जरिए, लेकिन जो उनकी मेन उद्देश्य है, जो उनका केंद्रीय भाव है हमारे लिए श्री राम को पेश करने का, वो एक ऐसे युगनायक का है जो कैसे अग्नि परीक्षाओं के समय किस तरह का आचरण करता है। जब उसे रास तिलक के दिन वनवास जाने की आज्ञा मिलती है तो वो कैसा आचरण करता है। जब उसको उनका भाई कहते हैं कि भाई आप बिल्कुल ये मत जाइए, मैं आपको इस वरदान से मुक्त करता हूं, उसके बाद भी वो उस आज्ञा को, उस प्रलोभन को एक तरह से नहीं मानते हैं। सेवक से कैसा संबंध होना है, स्वामी से कैसा संबंध होना है, गुरु से कैसा संबंध होना है, स्त्री से कैसा संबंध होना है, वनवासियों से कैसा संबंध होना है, निरीह प्राणियों से कैसा संबंध होना है, शत्रु से कैसा संबंध होना है, ये सारा का सारा हमको रामचरितमानस की एक एक चौपाई में मिलता है। तो एवरी कपलेट ऑफ मानस इज एन एजुकेशन ऑफ मर्यादा, प्रोप्राइटी, रेक्टिट्यूड कि रास्ता ये है। तो रामचरितमानस अकॉर्डिंग टू मी और एज माय स्टडी सजेस्ट्स टू मी is a moral mirror before Indian society कि ये नायक हैं, इनका मार्ग है। इन्होंने अपार कष्ट के समय, वेदना के समय, दो राहे जब क्रॉस रोड्स पे राम थे, जब दुविधा में राम थे, जब विषाद में राम थे, ऐसे ऐसे पलों में जो हम सामान्य इंसानों को तोड़ देते हैं। मतलब हमको जो लोभ लालच के प्रेशर आते हैं, कामना का जो ज्वार आता है, जो लाइफ में डिजास्टर आते हैं, ये सभी तो हमको तोड़ते हैं, हमारी मर्यादा से यही तो हमको विचलित करते हैं। मानस का ये मैसेज है संत तुलसीदास का कि किस निर्णायक पल में, किस कठिन घड़ी पर श्री राम ने कैसा आचरण किया और कैसे वो भारतीय समाज के लिए एक नैतिक है, एक नैतिक दर्पण की तरह। तो भगवान शिव के साथ भगवान श्री राम के प्रति तुलसी का ये जो भाव है और जो विनम्रता है, वो साफ साफ कहते हैं कि मैं कवि नहीं हूं, मैं वचनों में प्रवीण नहीं हूं। ये जो विनम्रता है, इससे वो अपनी कविता की शुरुआत करते हैं। और बार बार अंत में भी अगर आप लास्ट का जो चौपाई, लास्ट का जो हिस्सा है उसमें भी वो कहते हैं कि तुलसी ने अपने आत्मा के अंधकार को दूर करने के लिए इस मानस रूपी किताब का एक तरह से लेखन किया है। और ये तो भगवान शंकर की कृपा से ही मेरे जीवन में उद्घाटित हुआ है। स्वांतः सुखाय के लिए, आत्मदर्शन के लिए, आत्म आलोकन के लिए, सेल्फ इल्यूमिनेशन के लिए मैंने मानस को लिखा है। और निश्चित रूप से हर पंक्ति में, हर जगह पर तुलसी के श्री राम हमको मिलते हैं। कुछ एक चौपाइयां हैं, जैसे एक जगह तुलसीदास कह रहे हैं, हिमते अनल प्रकट बरु होई, विमुख राम सुख पाओ न कोई। हो सकता है बर्फ से भी आग निकलनी शुरू हो जाए, अनहोनी कोई बात हो जाए, लेकिन ये संभव नहीं है कि जो राम से विमुख है उसके जीवन में कोई सुख आ जाए। It is impossible to be happy without having our devotion at the lotus feet of Sri Ram. इसी प्रकार तुलसीदास कहते हैं कि नीति निपुण सोई परम समाना, श्रुति सिद्धांत तीन नहीं जाना, सोई कवि कोविद सोई रणधीरा, जो छल छाड़ी भगत रघुवीरा। बहुत ज्यादा प्योरिटी पर जो जोर है, जो हमारी पूरी एक तरह से मोरालिटी की स्पाइन है, बहुत ज्यादा जोर प्योरिटी पर। तो तुलसीदास जी के उसमें भी वो बार बार कहते हैं इस चीज को कि सारे छल्म छद्म छोड़ करके, सारी इम्प्योरिटी, फॉल्सहुड जिसे माता जी कहती हैं, उस सबको छोड़ करके हमको जो है रघुवीर को भजन करना है। एक जगह वो कहते हैं कि कलयुग में और कुछ नहीं चलने वाला है, न जोग, न ध्यान, न ज्ञान, कुछ भी नहीं, केवल राम का नाम आधार है। कलयुग जोग न यज्ञ न ज्ञाना, उत्तरकांड में, एक आधार राम गुण गाना, सब भरोसी तजी जो भजी राम ही, प्रेम समेत गाव गुण ग्राम है। सारी चीजों को छोड़ करके और केवल राम का भजन करो, क्योंकि और प्रेम के साथ भगवान श्री राम का गुण गाओ। कलयुग में यही सहारा है, यहाँ योग नहीं है, यज्ञ नहीं है, ज्ञान नहीं है, उसको पाने का एकमात्र आधार श्री राम का नाम। इसी प्रकार बहुत सारे चौपाइयों में हर पृष्ठ पर जो है तुलसी हमको अपने नायक राम से मुलाकात करवाते हैं, हमारे हृदय में स्थान बनाते हैं कि श्री राम का वहां प्रवेश हो, या हमारे हृदय में वो श्रद्धा निरूपित करते हैं जिससे हमारा हृदय श्री राम की भक्ति के प्रति आलोकित हो, ओपन हो, उनके प्रति खुले। तो इस ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन के साथ मैं अपनी बात को अभी पूरा करता हूं। विश्वजीता, बैक टू यू।
बहुत अच्छा चरण जी, बहुत अच्छा। आप पूरा, क्या बोलूं मैं, आपका भाव पूरा आप रख दिए यहाँ पर कविता के जरिए। सब कुछ जैसे फुल हो गया यहाँ पर आज का सेशन, बहुत अच्छा लगा। So,
प्रदीप भाई, are you with us? I saw you there. आप हैं यहाँ पे?
वो आए थे थोड़ी देर के लिए।
हाँ, आए थे और उनका वीडियो भी ऑन हुआ था कुछ टाइम, but I don't know if he's having difficulty.
Maybe just now he left.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see him, right?
Right now he's not there.
Yeah. Okay, then we'll continue when
Yes.
he joins. क्योंकि उनको काफी इंटरेस्ट था इस टॉपिक में, मेरी बात हुई थी तो उन्होंने कहा कि मैं कुछ टाइम ज्वाइन करूंगा।
वो थे, अभी थे, थोड़ी देर पहले थे।
हाँ, थोड़ी देर पहले थे। तो चलिए जब आएंगे तो उनसे भी हम कहेंगे थोड़ा सा। ओके, ठीक है विश्वजीता जी, यू कंटिन्यू प्लीज।
Now I would like to invite Mr. Narendra Murty. Professionally, Narendra Murty worked as a divisional manager in LIC. However, the deep driving passion of his life has been to the study of various religion and philosophy, to which he has devoted more than 35 years. He has authored 4 books on themes related to spiritual quest. Presently, he is devoted full-time to his study and writing and working as content creator for Sri Aurobindo Society, Pondicherry, and contributes every month to the Renaissance, its online monthly journal. Today, he is speaking on the avataric work of Sri Rama. All the best, Narendra Murty ji.
Thank you, Ms. Sujita. Am I audible, Beloo ji?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. My subject is the avataric work of Sri Rama. So, the purpose of Ram avatar, there's a purpose to it. So I'm going to talk about that purpose. Like we have the Dasavatar of Vishnu. So what was the purpose of Sri Rama's avatar? Each avatar has its own purpose. Like Krishna had, like Bindu ji touched in her initial presentation, that Krishna avatar had a purpose. Similarly, Ram avatar also had a purpose. So before speaking on Sri Ram avatar, I just want to touch 1 or 2 points on Parashurama avatar, because that comes just before Sri Ram. And in some way, these 2 avatars are linked and related. Parashuram's function, what was the purpose of Parashurama avatar? That purpose and Sri Ram's purpose, there is a link. So I just brief 1 or 2 minutes, I'll talk about the purpose of the Parashuram's avatar. Parshuram was born as a Brahmin. He was the son of sage Jamadagni, and his father had a wish-fulfilling cow. We call it Kamdhenu, it is also called Surabhi. So the Kshatriya king, Sahasrarjun, he was all powerful. He wanted that, he saw the miracle of that Kamdhenu and he asked for it from Jamadagni. Jamadagni refused. He said, I can't give you my cow. So basically the king, he simply used his soldiers and applying force, he simply forcibly took away the cow to his palace. At that time, Parashurama was not present. Parashurama was the disciple of Shiva and he got his parashu, the battle axe, from Shiva himself. So Parashurama was invincible in battle. Nobody could defeat him. So Parashuram went to the palace of Sahasrarjun to recover the cow, Kamdhenu. And of course, they were not willing, and there was a big fight, and a whole lot of soldiers, they came and attacked Parshuram, and Parshuram reduced all of them to a pile of dead bodies. And he simply took the cow. And in that battle, Sahasrarjun also died in the hands of Parshuram. And Parshuram came home with the cow, and he told his father, this is what happened. His father was very upset and angry with Parshuram that being a Brahmin, you cannot indulge in such wanton acts of violence. So you must go and do penance. And he scolds Parshuram, and Parshuram goes away to do penance. In the meantime, the sons of Sahasrarjun, they come back looking for Parshuram, and not finding him, they kill Jamadagni. They behead him and they kill him. And when Parshuram comes to the ashram and sees that, is the beheaded dead body of his father, and he vows vengeance, and he kills all the descendants of Sahasrarjuna. And thereafter, he killed 21 generations of Kshatriyas. Now, what is the purpose of Parshuram's avatar? The purpose was the Kshatriyas, by virtue of their bahubal, of their physical strength, and the fact that they wielded arms, they thought that they could do anything. And there was corruption, there was oppression. So they used force, and they became materialistic and greedy, which are not Kshatriya, traits and character. So they just became greedy for a wish-fulfilling cow, and that is how they became. And they are supposed to be the rakshaks of the society, but they became the bhakshaks. When the Kshatriyas become like that, then the balancing act of the divine comes in the form of Parshuram, a Brahmin who wields an axe, Parashu, and he sort of restores the balance. Now, Parshuram was a Rajasic, violent man. He was the Rajasic man. So the balance in the Kshatriya society was restored by Parshuram, but simply restoring the balance was not enough. A glowing light of what a Kshatriya ideal should be. What is ideal Kshatriya behavior? That had to be spelled out. That had to be defined. And that was the role of the Rama. That is the purpose of Sri Rama. So basically, Rama creates a blazing, he throws a blazing light on what Kshatriya ideal should be. Parshuram corrected the excesses of the Kshatriyas, the oppression of the Kshatriyas. He balanced that part. But the positive part was done by Sri Rama. So if Parshuram was the Rajasic man, Rama is the Sattvic man. Like Beluji told in her introductory presentation, that he personifies the Sattvic hero. So Rama is that. So for the Kshatriyas, a perfect code of conduct had to be defined, and that is what Rama came for. Not only for Kshatriyas only, but for the entire society also. All the roles had to be defined. If in a perfect society, if we are talking about Ram Rajya is the perfect society. So in such a society, what are the perfect roles? Role models. So basically the Ram avatar's function and purpose is defining role models. So he's a Sattvic, civilized human being who is guided by reason, fine emotions, truth, obedience, honor. The word that we use is Maryada. He's a Maryada Purusha, the personification of honor, the perfect man of honor. So these are the traits that Rama had to demonstrate through his life. And Beluji talked about one thing which I noted down, that is the time spirit of that age. What was the age like? What was the spirit of that age like? We saw the function. We saw the Rajasic man in Parshuram. We saw the Rajasic behavior of Sahasrarjuna and the Kshatriyas. We saw that. In the Vanarsena, we see the animal mind. In Ravana, we see the Rajasic vital mind. So this was the time spirit of that age. There was no ideal to look forward to look up to. That ideal was given by Sri Rama. That is the purpose of Ram Avatar. It is not enough to say that Kshatriya should be chivalrous, noble, protector of the weak, all that. Shining example has to be given. A prototype, a model, a role model has to be created in the minds of the people. Now, one very interesting, fact I realized while doing my study on Dasavatar. In fact, right now I'm writing a book on symbolism where this chapter is there, Dasavatar. There I came across a fantastic revelation. We cannot judge Sri Rama properly if we take him in his totality as a character. Then we will be, like Beloo said, those shadows in the character, those so-called imperfections which are visible to us. Why did he send away his wife to the forest just because some washerman said something? Why did he kill Vali from behind? He's a Kshatriya warrior. Why he should do that? Why should a Kshatriya do that? Killing someone, your enemy from behind. Why did he do all this? How can he be perfect? We would be haunted by these questions. If we look at him as a person, Rama, Maharishi Valmiki, when he created the character of Rama, the purpose was, like I said, setting the perfect ideal, setting the perfect role model for each role, for each function. If you judge Sri Rama by his individual roles, you will always find him perfect. Always perfect. In emphasizing the perfection of a particular role, Valmiki, in fact, compromised with the overall personality of Rama, because he perfected each role to probably an unreasonable extent. Like, what should a son be like? Like Ram. Just because his father said something, he gave his word to someone. He threw away the throne and he went to the exile. A son should be like that. That kind of loyalty and that kind of shraddha for his father. So that is, what should a son be like? Like that. What should a king be like? Like that. Even if there is a single voice of dissent in the kingdom, then the king is not enjoying the confidence of his people. He should be so concerned about each and every single voice in his kingdom that he is willing to sacrifice his own personal happiness for the sake of the citizens and their concerns. That is how a perfect king should be. When he's performing the role of the king, he's not the perfect husband, but he's the perfect king. In that role, he's perfect. Okay, now we come to the role of the husband. What should a husband be like? Like Rama. In those days, polygamy was normal. His father had three queens. Dasharath had 3 queens. But see the loyalty and love and devotion of Rama for Sita. His wife, she was kidnapped by Ravana, and see, look at the pains he took to recover her. That absolute loyalty of a loving husband towards his wife. So perfect husband is Rama. What should a friend be like? Look at Rama's friendship with Sugriva, with Jatayu, not only with man, but with animals. With Jatayu is a vulture, Jambavan is a bear, Sugriva is a monkey, and even Vibhishan. Vibhishan is a Rakshas, but when Vibhishan comes to him for shelter and refuge, Rama is the ideal friend to him. And after the battle is won, Rama doesn't take over Lanka. He gives the kingdom to Sugriva, to Vibhishan. So that is how a friend should be. What should your brother be like? Like Rama. The kind of worship and respect he enjoyed from his brothers, that should be an ideal brother. So Rama was perfect in each and every individual role. And for that, maybe his overall personality has suffered. But we have to understand Rama in his individual roles, because he was the perfect man of honor in each and every role. So that is one thing. About the killing of Vali, there's a lot of debate about this everywhere. Why did he do this? So I will go into a little bit. I have to go into this, because otherwise we cannot clear Rama's name from this. Vali was he was granted a boon that whoever came to fight with him, he would get half of his strength will go and go to Vali. If his enemies would lose half of their strength, and that strength would be added to Vali. Vali basically represents lust and karma. So we usually become powerless when the object of our lust and karma is in front of us. So that is what Vali means. If we are feeling lustful, we are lustful about something, then we cannot win a frontal battle with that lust. So we have to maintain a distance from the object of our desire, and then we have to gain our inner control. That is the meaning of Rama hiding and killing Vali. And here, Sri Aurobindo, I will just quote his words, what Sri Aurobindo said. It was not his business to play the comedy of the chivalrous Kshatriya with a formidable brute beast that was Vali. It was his business to kill him and get the animal mind under his control. A mind overpowered by lust is an animal mind. So this is what Sri Aurobindo says. It was not Rama's business to be a fair, exercising fair play and all that. He had to tame that animal. So that is what killing of the Vali means, that we have to stay away from the object of our physical lust when we are confronted with it. So here again, I'll use one more quote of Sri Aurobindo, like what I was saying. Sri Aurobindo writes, it is the attracting divine example given by God to man in the very type and form and perfected model of our human existence. So perfect example. Rama has given the perfect example for every role, and that was the purpose of Rama Avatar. And like Beluji said, the true spirit of the age, and this is what I think, debunking the character of Rama and seeing the shadows of his character. So I think this little bit, it addresses that problem in the interaction section. We may continue with that. And the social idea, basically Rama was spelling out the social idea of that society. What should be a son like? What should be a king like? What should be a brother be like? What should a friend be like? All these roles he has defined, and that standard still stands. Nobody has improved over that standard that he has set. Nobody. That standard still stands. Still, if we have to give an example what a husband should like, we have to say she should be like Ram. If we have to say what a son should be like, we should say it has to be like Ram. So, and I will close with the final remarks of Sri Aurobindo. Rama's figure has been stamped for more than 2 millenniums on the mind of Indian culture. And what he stood for has dominated the reason and idealizing mind of man in all countries. It's not only a model for our society, but for entire humanity. And it shall continue to do so until a greater ideal arises. That is what Sri Aurobindo says. It shall continue to do so until a greater ideal. That greater ideal has not risen till date. So Rama stands as our beacon, as our lighthouse in the darkness of moral ambiguity and all that. He shines out as a bright light, enlightening all the roles, all the perfect roles. And in that process, his overall personality has suffered. But those roles are perfect. Let us, whenever we think of Rama, let us think about his individual roles. It's always perfect. So that's, I think, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you, Mr. Jit. Over to you.
Thank you, Narendra ji. Very interesting message for all of us. Thank you. Now time has come to invite our last speaker for today's session. Bindu ji, are you there? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Namaste, Biswajit.
Okay. Bindu Popli creates art that comes from a place deep within her. She has a BFA degree in painting from Delhi College of Art, where she received several prestigious awards and scholarships. She is currently heading the art department at a public school in Delhi. With a deepening of her inner journey, her art has increasingly become an expression of the truth within her. She has been featured twice in the Insightful Conversations series at Renaissance. Today, her topic is An Artist's Love for Sri Ram. Please welcome Binduji. I am a big fan of you.
Oh, yeah, even you sing too well. Once I think you sang that Madhuradi Patay Akhilam Madhuram,
yes.
right? Yes.
Janmashtami
I still,
special.
yes. So
आपका
thank you.
आपका पेंटिंग मतलब मैं लीगली वेट कर रही हूँ कब आप आएंगे और हमारे सामने रखेंगे.
बस पेंटिंग तो ऐसा है कि जब पूरा माहौल ऐसा बना, अभी नरेंद्र जी ने इतना सुंदर सब कुछ बोला that he is the epitome of brotherhood, मतलब an ideal brother, an ideal husband. So at that time also I was thinking the same thing, that he is so ideal. Sri Rama is so ideal, so respectful, और कुछ भी हम बोलें कि श्रद्धा उनके लिए उस तरह से है कि उनको पेंटिंग में उतारने के लिए कुछ मतलब हम तो असमर्थ ही हो जाते हैं. इंसान खुद को तो असमर्थ ही पाता है कि इतनी बड़ी चेतना को कैसे लाइंस और फॉर्म्स में उतारे. तो बस सिर्फ उनको ही इन्वोक करके, कि डिवाइन फोर्सेस को ही इन्वोक करके, राम जी को ही इन्वोक करके जो बन पाया. और ऐसा रहा, मतलब my journey from childhood was like that Rama, love for Lord Ram was very much in my family, or to whom I got married, especially my husband Shri Ishan Mahesh, वो पूरे राम भक्त हैं और राम के विषय में उपन्यास लिख रहे हैं. तो वो पूरा पारिवारिक जो मिला कल्चर, it was all imbibed in love for Sri Ram. So because of that, I could able to do something. And the presentation which is going to be played here is in a kind of a video in which the paintings, you'll be able to see the paintings and some drawings which have kuch something related to the life of Rama, or some abstract expression of what I see Ram and Hanuman, because I cannot differentiate between Lord Rama and Lord Hanuman, because without Hanuman, Ram, people love Hanuman more than Lord Ram. Sometimes I feel that I stay in Delhi, there are as many as Hanuman temples that you just encounter them in every lane. So Hanuman has become such a figure, such a ideal bhakt figure, that everyone says that let's pray to Hanuman first, then only we can at least reach to that one step of Ram consciousness. Or to know Ram, you at least have to first pray Hanuman and become a little bit, or imbibe his traits to feel that Ramatva in Ram. So I think I would like Satya. Satya must be here. Please, Satya. Actually, I'm not able to play my video from this side. Yes, Satya. He'll be playing that video which I've prepared. That will say all about my love for Sri Rama. So. So this was the presentation. Another thing which I wanted to say, and this is सब कुछ राम का, जैसे कहते हैं राम सब कुछ आइडियल है, तो राम का नाम भी राम से बड़ा है. हम ये भी सुनते हैं that the name of Ram is in fact higher than Ram, because Ram at times we feel that he is in a body form, or he has taken a shape of a human being, but people have realized, the people who have realized by this name Ram, कि राम को जपने से जितने लोग रियलाइज हुए हैं, शायद वो राम के साथ रह के तो लिमिटेड लोग फायदा उठा पाए. तो तभी एक बहुत पॉपुलर भजन है शायद, कि राम से बड़ा राम का नाम. तो कुछ जो आखिर में मैं चित्रों के साथ ऐड किया, दैट वाज ऑल दोज मोमेंट्स. देयर वाज अ फेज इन माय लाइफ देन व्हेन आई वाज in that mode of reciting Ram Naam, or I came to know that people write Ram Naam in their notebooks, and so that thing somehow inspired me, that how does it make a difference if you write Ram's name multiple times. So just to feel that thing, I started these drawings, these Ram Naam, but in certain artistic manner, and indeed the pleasure or the bliss which I experienced was beyond words. So what else to say? I mean, there were lots of Hanuman paintings, and when Dr. Mehra told me that this session is all about Lord Ram, so I requested her to let me add my Hanuman paintings, because I'm more confident in making Hanuman, because Hanuman is a friend. Hanuman is your companion. You can feel that oneness, because he is so simple. He's so he's at your service all the time, that whenever you are in distress, or you think that if you call Hanuman, he'll be easily available. So I think every devotee relates at any time of their spiritual journey. This phase definitely comes when a devotee relates himself to any of the bhakt. So then bhakt can be Narsi Mehta or any Mirabai, because the people who love Krishna cannot avoid Meera, and people who love Ram cannot like bypass this way of Lord Hanuman. So this is all for my today's presentation. Now to Dr. Mehra or Viswajita. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting to this beautiful session.
Thank you, Bindu ji.
Yeah, I'm feeling so overwhelmed. I'm feeling very emotional.
शायद आप ध्यान दिए कि नहीं, लेकिन जब आपका वीडियो धीरे धीरे खत्म हो रहा था, मैं फील कर रही थी कि सभी लोग मतलब ध्यान से देख रहे थे. फिर पूरा खत्म होने के बाद धीरे धीरे कमेंट्स आना शुरू हो गया. लवली पेंटिंग्स, ब्यूटीफुल पेंटिंग्स, सभी लोग धीरे धीरे, क्योंकि सब ध्यान से देख रहे थे. इसीलिए तो हम लोग वेट कर रहे थे ना, आप कब आएंगे, आपका लाइवली पेंटिंग हमें देखने को मिलेगा. बहुत अच्छा लगा.
बहुत धन्यवाद. Thank you so much.
Thank you all of you. So many comments, so many questions are there. Now with बेलू जी.
हाँ, I think 2-3 questions हम ले सकते हैं. First of all, I have to thank everyone. Charan ji, Narendra ji, Bindu ji, Viswajita, for really creating a beautiful satsang jaisa ek ambiance, ek mahal ban gaya. Thank you so much. And thank you to all our participants. जो लोग अभी थोड़े कुछ लोग चले गए हैं क्योंकि थोड़ा लेट हो रहा है, but if it's okay, we will take up 2-3 questions जो हैं chat box में, because फिर बार-बार राम नाम लेने के लिए कैसे मिलना होता है बार-बार. तो आदित्य जी ने 1-2 questions मुझे अलग से भेजे थे. Aditya ji, if you are still here, can you unmute yourself and ask your question? फिर हम विजयता जी के भी क्वेश्चन है 1-2. आदित्य जी, आप would you like to speak your questions yourself? You can just unmute yourself. Let me see. Oh, problem with mic, Aditya is saying. Okay, Aditya, English or Hindi? We'll keep it in English because there may be. Dono chalega. Okay. So one of his question was about the temperament, which was I had invoked Sri Aurobindo's one comment about how the northerner, because he was replying to a Bengali, where he said the emotional intuitive temperament will be more drawn to Krishna. The kind of stories that we have of Krishna as an avatar, and the one who is more mental, moral, and social, concerned about social order, is more drawn to the Ram avatar. And then in another letter, he actually adds to, and so your question is about, you want to know more, a little bit more about it. So in another letter, Sri Aurobindo says that, and he invokes Gandhi there. He says Gandhi's was a more moral temperament, moral, ethical. So naturally, he's more drawn to Ram. And another place he says, see, now that in the earth consciousness, in the terrestrial evolution, the Sattvic ideal that Narendra ji so beautifully described has been established. It does not mean that all of us have become Sattvic mental beings. No, we are still, have a lot of Rajasic, a lot of animalistic, tamasic stuff in us. The gunas, they are still creating havoc in us. But the possibility of us going more towards the Sattvic ideal has been opened by Ram. So if we are in our own individual evolution drawn to those kinds of things, naturally Ram's story will be more attractive to us, which is why we are still, as Charan ji also said, we are still all in awe of Ram's ideals, because we have not arrived there in our own evolutionary journey, but the possibility has been opened by Ram. But now, with Krishna's advent, another higher possibility of over-mental, which is beyond the mental, moralistic, ethical conventions, which is what Krishna also says in a moment of highest consciousness, the supreme consciousness, during his teaching on the Gita, that Sarv Dharman Paritajye. Sab dharmo ko chhod ke, sab maryadaon ko chhod ke, come to me, surrender to me, I will take care. Don't worry, no vishad, I will take care of it. But that is the highest that he talks about at that time. So Krishna's advent is beyond that. But since we are still working towards that Sattvic ideal, Ram ki significance or Ram ki appeal still holds. Ek jagah Sri Aurobindo कहते हैं कि no matter how much our vital may revolt against Rama's ideal, but there is not yet a higher ideal that is there. So this is what we are drawn to. Now Krishna, because of the Bhagavatam, there are so much emotional kind of things that have added on to. So temperaments that are more emotional are drawn towards that, but also intuitive because of the overmind, which is beyond mind. So in that sense, we have to go deeper into it. But I hope just in short, that is enough. Charan ji or Narendra ji, agar aap kuch add karna chahe, please, in this question, please feel free. Narendra ji, please unmute yourself.
कोई question पूछे तो we can answer.
No, यही जो temperament का था. If you would like to add something to what I just said. अच्छा, maybe next question आप आपका जो आपने बात कही थी उससे बिल्कुल fit बैठता है. Again, Aditya ji is asking, does Sri Rama's life also give some guidance on which role to prioritize at a given time? So Narendra ji.
Actually, Aditya ji, it's not like वैसा नहीं है कि you have to prioritize any role. In Rama's case, what would you say? Which role was more important? His role as a king, was it more important, or his role as a husband, was that more important? His role as a son, is that an unimportant role? You cannot, prioritize roles like that. In life, we are not given choices that this role is important and that role is not important. In all the roles, our point is we are a mixture of perfections and imperfections. In some roles, we are good, we are perfect, and in some roles, we are very bad. I may be a very bad son, but I can be a very good husband. So that is the normal human constitution. But Sri Rama, in his avatar, he has given the highest perfect possibility. He has shown the possibility. So you cannot prioritize. You cannot say a son's role is unimportant, husband's role is important. You cannot say that. What about a king's role? It's very important. The entire society depends on that. So you cannot prioritize your roles. Rather, let us try to live up to that ideal. We are good in one or two roles. Let us try to be good in all the roles like Ram. That is what he teaches. That is what he teaches.
चरण जी, आप कुछ कहेंगे इस, because ये बहुत ही significant life से related question है. Satya, can you please help Charan ji unmute?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Beloo ji. उसमें आ रहा था कि host has enabled you to unmute. बेलू जी, एक बार क्वेश्चन को रिपीट कर दीजिएगा. Can you repeat the question?
Okay. Does Sri Ram's life also give some guidance on which role to prioritize at any given time?
I think the perfect answer to this question, this query, is already cleared by Dr. Narendra Murty. That we need to be perfect in each and every role. Whatever situations, whatever tempests of life come before us, we need to be as brave, as sagacious, as wide, as compassionate, as empathetic as Sri Rama was in those particular situations. We can at least model ourselves on his footsteps. We can at least try to be as close as to his highest peaks of ethics. So we should try to be perfect. We should try to be near to Sri Rama's ideals in each and every role of life, because every role is essential and nothing can be prioritized. The person in the passing moment, you are and the audience and the friends across the screen are the most essential people for me on the planet. But after this, I may have other priorities. Tomorrow morning, I am before my students. I need to be perfect teacher. Then I need to be perfect son. So we cannot prioritize these roles. We have to play every card very consciously. We have to play each and every role as judiciously as Sri Rama did. Thank you so much.
I will just add one more thing to all the wonderful things that have been shared before. Again, invoking what Sri Aurobindo reminds, Sri Ram did everything that he had to do with such divine ease, because there was divine consciousness behind. Instrumental personality, he was son of Dashrath, husband of Sita, and whatever, brother of Bharat and Lakshman and Shatrughan and all these things. But the divine in him was the guidance And that gave color to his life and all actions. So maybe whenever situations happened, jaise washerman situation, Sita's banishment, he did it without forcing of, Sri Aurobindo says, he did all that without a forcing of this note or that. कि अब मुझे ऐसा करना है, अब मुझे ऐसा बनना है. No, he did it with such ease because it was the divine consciousness that was guiding his actions. So once a spontaneous decision was made that I have to let Sita go, there was no regret, no pain, and he was the willingness to make that sacrifice of his own personal, Sri Aurobindo says, his own domestic happiness and happiness of Sita was not even a question for him. So prioritize nahi hai maybe necessarily the willingness to let go of smaller, little petty happiness. I mean, petty is not a, I don't mean it in that way, but to let go of personal comfort and happiness for the larger purpose for which he came, which is to establish that or to open the way for Ram Rajya. Open the possibility of that societal order where a perfect Kshatriya king will be doing exactly so that not even one dissenting voice, as Narendra ji said, will be there. So that I think is so amazing in Sri Ram. Yes, Narendra ji, please.
Just in this context, I would like to quote again Sri Aurobindo, just on this point about exiling Sita. Just because some washerman said something and Rama sending her away into the forest. I'll just use Sri Aurobindo's words. He says, to his public spirit and his sense of public order, he sacrificed his own happiness and domestic life and the happiness of Sita. Now, why did he do that? In that, he was at one with the moral sense of all the antique races, because that was the society at that point of time. Though at variance with the later romantic, individualistic, sentimental morality that we suffer from. That how could he do this to his wife? Come on, how can a husband do that to a wife? That is what Sri Aurobindo calls romantic, individualistic, sentimental morality of the modern man, who can afford to have that less stern morality, just because the ancients sacrificed the individual in order to make the world safe for the spirit of social order. In those times, individuals used to sacrifice themselves for the sake of society. Like as a son, he sacrificed his throne to ensure that the word of his father did not get falsified. That kind of, the society was such. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much, Aditya ji, for wonderful questions. Viji, I think these are your questions next. Maybe you're here with us, so if you can just unmute.
Yeah, hello, Beloo. I was actually typing, then I thought I left it off. Somewhere I have remember reading, maybe you are good in remembering Sri Aurobindo's writing. As a master said somewhere, it would have been better if Rama Avatar happened after Krishna Avatar, so that, is my memory right? Somewhere, as master says that, No.
No. He's very clear about the evolutionary scheme and the place of Rama.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe then it's my memory miss. And also when I was seeing the painting of Binduji, more of Sri Hanuman, and I remember that books, Nirodha's book, how as a, like Hanuman, he's Bhagwan used to wait for mother to come and serve the food like a, what do you call? Like a typical servant of the divine, he used to humbly wait. Is that right? Is my memory right?
Yeah, Nirodha's right. In 12 years with Sri Aurobindo, totally written from a bhakti's perspective.
Yes.
But there was another sadhak in the ashram, Champak Lalji, who was a personal attendant to both Sri Aurobindo and the mother at various points. And to him, mother said, he's the Hanuman. He is the
Ah.
embodiment of Hanuman. The way he served both Sri Aurobindo and the mother. I think Charanji and Narendraji, I remember correctly. Do I?
Champaklal speaks, yes.
Yes.
Yes, that is true, Beloo.
Yeah. Yes. So, but your questions are also very good, Vijayta. Would you like to speak about them?
Yeah, these questions are a bit vague, but I had them and that's why I came to this meeting. Yeah.
Yes, please. Okay. Yes, Vijayta, please go ahead.
I want to gather some new ideas how we can pay tribute to Sri Ram, and also what we can do to keep the ideal of Sri Rama alive.
Yeah. I think we can all share our insight into this. I'm sure you yourself have some thoughts on it, but maybe this can be like an open question to anybody who from the participants. Raviji is there, Muktadi is there, Binduji, Charanji, whoever would like to. Ushadi is also there. Please, any ideas how we can pay tribute to Sri Ram? I guess one way we can say is this, like being a part of satsangs like this could be one way. Ravi ji, namaste.
जी नमस्ते नमस्ते। मेरा
Ravi
ये
ji,
प्रश्न है
हाँ
और
जी,
मैंने आज फेसबुक पे भी डाला है कि पिछले 100 सालों में या 200 सालों में या 500 सालों में राम की बातें तो बहुत हुई हैं, मगर कोई राम बन के नहीं दिखाया किसी ने अभी तक।
yeah. I guess आपने बिल्कुल सही बात कही है विजयता जी के क्वेश्चन के लिए. I think Vijayta doesn't necessarily understand Hindi. So yes, by becoming Ram could be the best way. I mean, like there are letters of Sri Aurobindo on I think these are letters to Nirodha, where he writes, can any Muthu be supramentalized? They use the name Muthu. Any Muthu be supramentalized and become Sri Aurobindo or the mother or Sri Ram or this and that. And Sri Aurobindo replies in a humorous way, but why does a Muthu need to become Sri Aurobindo? Why does a Muthu cannot become supramentalized Muthu? So there is a divine element in each one of us. We have to first identify with that and grow into that divinity within. Whether it resembles Ram's ideal or anyone else's ideal, that depends on what is the unique turn of the divine Shakti, the divine force that has been embodied in that psychic being within us. So it could be supramentalized XYZ, whatever, or divine XYZ. But to live up to the ideals, the teachings that these avatars have given us would be the best way to rise ourselves in the consciousness, to imbibe those values would be the best way to pay tribute. Easier said than done, as Ravi ji points out, but we have to keep the hope. And Charan ji and maybe Narendra ji, you can, and Bindu ji, if you would like to add something to that, please.
बेलू जी, मैंने कुछ दिन पहले ऐसे एक सवाल पर रवि जी से कहा था कि पिछले कई 100 सालों में हमने दूसरा रविकांत खंडेलवाल भी नहीं देखा, तो अगर श्री राम की तरह कोई दूसरा नहीं, उसका मतलब ये नहीं कि कार्बन कॉपी हम चाहते हैं, उनकी ही तरह का ड्रेस हो, उनकी तरह का धनुष हो, उनकी तरह की लाइफ सिचुएशंस हो, ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है। जो आपने जवाब दिया कि वो जो एसेंशियल वैल्यूज हैं, जिन आइडियल्स को राम, जिनका वो लिविंग इनकारनेशन है, उनको हम जीवन में उनकी टीचिंग्स को कितना लेते हैं। बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल हैं, जब इंडिविजुअल घटनाएं, जैसे दशरथ माँ जी का एग्जाम्पल है, अपनी पत्नी के लिए एक पहाड़ से टकराना, मतलब मॉडर्न कॉन्सेप्ट में एक छोटे से एग्जाम्पल के तौर पर, कि जिस तरह हमको पत्नी के वियोग में श्री राम दिखाई देते हैं, और फिर वो पूरी लंका की उनकी चढ़ाई होती है, उसके बाद वो रावण का विनाश करते हैं, अश्वत्थ का विनाश करते हैं। एक छोटे एग्जाम्पल के तौर पर वही दशरथ माँ जी के जीवन में भी हमको दिखाई देता है। अवतार का जो सबसे बड़ा एवोल्यूशन की प्रोसेस में मुझे लगता है उसके दिल की वेदना लोक मंगल के लिए, हिज पर्सनल एंग्विश, हिज द एम्पैथी एंड कंपैशन इज हार्ट फॉर द ब्रॉडर गुड ऑफ द पीपल। तो ये सिचुएशंस तो अपने अपने तरह से हम सबके जीवन में भी हैं। हम सबके के जीवन में वो लाइफ लेसन्स, वो सिचुएशंस हैं जो श्री राम के जीवन में थी। अपने अपने ढंग से हम उन टीचिंग्स को, उन्होंने जो काम किए, उन्होंने जो ऊंचाइयां छुई, उन्होंने जिस तरह से सिचुएशंस को हैंडल किया, जिस तरह से अग्नि परीक्षाएं दी, और वो चरित्र एक 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 कॉमन मतलब वो बना, उदाहरण बना, वो हम अपने जीवन में उसको अपने अपने तरीके से तो कर सकते हैं, बिना श्री राम की तरह बने हुए, दिखे हुए, या श्री राम की तरह मतलब उस तरह प्रचार प्रसार किए हुए। और जो विजेता सिस्टर है उनका सवाल था, आई थिंक लविंग श्री राम इज द बेस्ट वे, सिंगिंग हिज लीला, डिलीवरिंग ऑन हिज थॉट्स, यू नो, ऑल दीज आर थिंग्स विच यू मेंशन कि ये कार्यक्रम भी एक एग्जाम्पल है कि कैसे हम श्री राम की तरह, कैसे हम श्री राम को अपने जीवन में उतारे, उनके लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं। तो उनके आदर्श से प्रेम करना, उनके जीवन से प्रेम करना, उनके कैरेक्टर से प्रेम करना, उनकी टीचिंग्स को जीवन में अपनाना, ये श्री राम की और किसी भी दूसरे अवतार की सबसे बड़ी सेवा है। टू बी द लिविंग एग्जाम्पल ऑफ द मास्टर्स टीचिंग, द आइडियल्स टीचिंग is the best service one can render to his ideal or her ideal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charan ji. And I think I don't know if Bindu ji is still with us or not, but I was one of the things
Yes,
I
yes.
was feeling when I was watching her video was that it is really, I mean, how her session was titled "An Artist's Love for Sri Ram." In a way, through her art, through her illustrations and paintings, she is loving Sri Ram. It does not
Yes,
have to be, like that. I don't know.
yeah.
Please.
Yeah, that's what Ravi ji just mentioned that the whole tribute is just to love, and that love can be of the expression can be anything, talking or reading about him, or that's what if you can paint, you paint something. If you can sing something about. So these are small methods to enhance that love, and I think to cleanse yourself, what you said, to cleanse your जो भी कहते हैं, हम अपने बुराइयों को धीरे धीरे हम अगर एक एक करके आइडेंटिफाई करते रहें और उन पे काम करके उन्हें दूर करते रहें, like to cleanse our soul by what the layers of what should say, वो अज्ञानता की layers को हम क्या कहेंगे, the wheels of illusion, the wheels of maya. If you become aware towards that and start that process of cleansing yourself, that is again a tribute to Rama, because Ram wants everyone to realize that conscious Ram is in everyone, and that though Ram is in everyone, like it's a Paramatma is in every Jivatma, but Jivatma is covered by so many unwanted layers of illusion, Maya, or what delusions, whatever you say. So if we become aware of our own fallacies, our own vices, our own blockages, and start working, start dissolving them, I think this again is a small tribute to the highest consciousness, to whom we belong, to whom everyone belongs.
Thank you. So we are 20 minutes past 6, but satsang ka ye anand aisa hai. Is there a comment or a question, Jyoti ji?
Yeah. I have a question, maybe for you or anybody can answer. The thing is that all we know that Ram was supposed to be sworn in as the king of Ayodhya, but the next day morning he was forced to go for 14 years vanvas because of his stepmother Kaikeyi. So means like in my opinion, Ram should have choose the Raj Dharma, like he was supposed to be the king of Ayodhya, but he chose to go for vanvas to keep up his father's word. So my question is that does it affect any way to his maryada, or means affect his maryada? And what is Sri Aurobindo's perspective on this?
Hey, very good question. Okay, I'll just say briefly, and then Narendra ji and Charan ji, maybe you can also add. Yes, so Aditya ji is already replying in a comment. Back then he was a prince and not king. Yes, the announcement that was going to happen was that he will be the Yuvraj, the king next, because only after Dashrath's passing would the prince become the king, the Yuvraj become the king. So it was to announce to the public that he would be the next king. So it was not that he was abandoning any Raj Dharma. He was following the Putra Dharma at that time. So maybe there was a prioritizing happening, but he was sacrificing his princely life, Prince Dharma, to fulfill the Putra Dharma. And in that context, he also goes to Sita and he tells Sita that, okay, my father has said this, so 14 साल मैं जा रहा हूँ, तुम यहाँ रहो और मम्मी पापा की सेवा करो. This is one passage that Sri Aurobindo has specifically chosen to translate this conversation between Ram and Sita. When Ram tells Sita that I am going to the Vanvas, but you stay here in Ayodhya, in the palace, and do what a daughter-in-law is supposed to do. And it's very interesting why Sri Aurobindo has chosen this. So that's a given. He's not giving up any abandoning any Raj. He's only sacrificing his personal, comfortable life as a prince, as a Yuvraj. And he does not want his wife to suffer. But his wife reminds him, Sita reminds him of her dharma as a patni, which is to accompany her husband. And then she even challenges him, ki, no, you cannot teach me what is my dharma. I have already been told and trained and taught in my father's household. And she takes a very strong position. And Sri Aurobindo, I think, was personally so drawn to Sita's strength. This is one of the few moments in Ramayana, in Valmiki's Ramayana, where Sita outshines in strength Rama. So Sri Aurobindo chose that to translate that whole conversation. So Sri Aurobindo ka opinion is बारे में नहीं है कि son का धर्म या पुत्र धर्म क्यों choose किया, but उन्होंने उसके next level पे उसकी बात की है. When the conversation happens between Sri Ram and his mother Kaushalya, वो भी passage Sri Aurobindo ने translate किया है, और his conversation with Sita, both he has chosen. Charan ji and Narendra ji, if you would like to add something to it, please.
Jai Prakash ji, I would like to say there is a tradition in Raghukul to observe the promise, to fulfill the promise. Raghukul Riti sada chali aayi, pran jai par vachan na jai. So all the princes were duty bound to fulfill the promises either made personally by them or by their forefathers. So Sri Ram was in that way following Raj Dharma as well as Putra Dharma. And look at the symbolism behind. After the banishment, after the exilement, he did so much Lok Kalyan, which culminated in the ultimate elimination of the highest effigy or symbol of evil, that was Ravan. So, there is some good behind every bad, as the saying goes. So in that way, Ram owes a lot to Kaikeyi's stupidities, or I apologize using this word, but at the time it was her mercilessness. Many people demonize Kaikeyi for this callousness on her part, to show the door of the jungle to a crown prince, rather. But look at the grace, the beauty, the wisdom that Sri Rama, and the open-heartedness, the way he adopted his father's wish and willingness. And not only Sri Rama, when Mata Sumitra talks to Lakshman, when he was also discussing with her that I need to be with, what should I do? What is my dharma? What should I do? So what does he say? He says, Avad taha jaha Ram nivasu, taha divas jaha bhanu prakash. Your Ayodhya is not here. Your Ayodhya is where Sri Ram is. Just like sun is where the sunshine is. Tahan divas jahan bhanu prakash. Whenever there is sunshine, there is sun actually. So be with Rama. So look at the beauty of this highest ethical demeanor, highest ethical behavior of this entire family, of this Raghukul. I think this is, Ram did not breach anything. He just observed his Maryada and he shone brighter, he emerges brighter after the fulfillment of this promise. Thank you.
Yes, and Vijayata has also added an important point here, that from the spiritual point of view, he had a mission to accomplish as avatar. So which Charanji just now also referred to. The good, the Lok Sangraha art that he was, the Lok Kalyan work that he was doing. Cleaning up those jungles of the Asuric hold. So that's the, yes. So I think, shall we, it's almost 6:30. Shall we close here? I'm really very happy that so many of you stayed back for all these reflections and discussions. All of this is being recorded. We will be sharing the video on Society's YouTube channel soon. But I hope, Jyotiji, your question was addressed sufficiently.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So
Yeah, it was clear.
yes, thank you. So Biswajita, shall we
Yes.
close?
Yes. बहुत अच्छा था बेलू जी, थैंक यू सो मच. आप इस तरह और एक बार बार प्रोग्राम कीजिए और हम लोगों को एकजुट कीजिए और ऐसा सत्संग चलता रहे बस. क्यों, मैं ठीक बोल रही हूँ ना?
नहीं नहीं, राम नाम चलता रहे.
हाँ.
श्री कृष्ण पे जाएं, फिर श्री रामा कृष्णा पे जाएं. मतलब
Yes.
इंडियन स्पिरिट को एक नए
हमें आगे लेना है.
समझने की प्रयास करते रहे श्री औरोबिंदो की लाइट में, श्री औरोबिंदो के प्रकाश में. सो थैंक यू सो मच चरण जी, नरेंद्र जी, बिंदु जी, रवि जी, आदित्य जी, मुक्ता जी, everybody, Satya, Biswajita, Vijayata, Viji, and so many of others who were earlier there with us throughout the session. Maybe we will just close with few moments of silence, and then as we are ready, we can just leave the meeting. And just, wishing you all the best for rest of your evening. And Jai Ma, Jai Sri Ram. Namaste.